Welcome to the Warrior Radio Network, Talons Out Live with Coach Adam Dolan. September 23rd, ready to rock on and talk a little bit about some football. I'm Jonathan Gowan. We'll have Adam Welch joining us here in just a minute. And Coach Dolan, ready to rock and roll. How are you tonight, my friend?
All right. How are you doing?
Doing good. We've I started a new job today, so we had to run home and get done with that, and scarf down a bite of supper, and here we are, ready to rock.
Here we are.
Yeah. So I know that's probably not everything we want to talk about from the other night, but 34-14, Houston County come in there and kind of took care of business, and it's people know and understand that we was kind of bruised and battered just a little bit here and there. So I feel like this bye week has probably come at just near a perfect time for you.
I think you could say that. I mean, we definitely need it, and used the term bruised and battered. I don't. Under the circumstances, I think we're pretty healthy. We've got, of course, Sawyer's been out for the season, and then Zach Fowler was out this week, but he'll be back by the time we play McEwen, and Sawyer will be back for spring ball or whatever. But for the most part, when you look at everything in the totality, we've been very healthy. But we talked about it. We had a long meeting today about what we wanted to get accomplished this week and next week and get ready for McEwen. But the weight room has caused us to be like this. And it's our – I mean, we talk about it all the time. I know I talk about it ad nauseum. The weight room is the reason why we're having any success right now. And the fact that it ain't just about being big and strong and explosive and fast. It's about injury prevention. We do a lot of things for injury prevention. And knock on wood, it's taken root a little bit in the last couple of years. And but our legs are really, really tired. I saw it on literally the first play of the game the other night. I just saw us not move the way we should move as a team, not just an individual or two. It was as a collective. Our legs were. I don't know if it was the week. It was really warm still. We haven't caught a break with the heat really and the humidity, and I think those reps are catching up to us. I mean, I know for a fact that we've got 9 guys on our team that's played over 700 snaps in 5 games. When you combine
wow, that's a lot.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I've never in my life been a part of anything like it, and it is what it is. No one's going to feel. I tell our kids all the time, no one's going to feel sorry for us. They line up and play. We line up and play, and there's not a column on the scoreboard that tells you how many players they only had in uniform and how many snaps they played. That doesn't matter. It's either yes or no. Did you win or lose? So, unfortunately, Houston County got the best of us the other night. I don't think we played very efficient in ways. I don't think it was as bad as some might have thought looking at the scoreboard. I mean, that's a really good football team. A lot of people don't understand Houston County is a really nice 1A football team. They've got a couple good backs. Their quarterbacks, this is his 3rd year starting. They've got a bunch of older guys on the offensive, defensive line. Their depth. They dress 40-something players, same coaching staff, continuity, same offense, defense. A lot of guys that we saw last year when we went over there and won a game. So they were young last year. They're old this year. So
and even if you look at it too, I know there was some eyebrows raised for myself whenever I got ready to type in their starting lineups. They're using some guys on both sides of the football as just like we are. But there was a lot of seniors, a lot of juniors, and like you said, but it was still kind of I guess a reality check to see that a lot of these teams are using the same kids on both sides of the football, and just like we're having to do.
Yeah, and they do, and we have 9 guys that I think 9, or depending on the week, 9 or 10 guys that play both ways. And when I say play both ways, they don't really have a backup. They've got guys that they can spell them on special teams where they're not having, on punt or kickoff, they're running 40 or 50 yards at, full speed. And they they take them out here and there on a couple plays here and there. If you took those 9 guys of ours that are playing all those reps, if those guys played 25 less plays a game, how much of a difference that would be? It really is. And I see it all, that's a reason why they rotate people in the college level and the NFL. Like, I was telling our guys today, like, if you're a defensive lineman, you don't play 700 snaps in a season when you rotate in and out in a 12 or 13 game season. You just don't. It's just what it is. And the weather's going to help us down the long run here, down the stretch. It's going to get a little cooler, and those legs are not going to get as heavy in the third and fourth quarter, and it's going to help us. But it has been what it's been, and we had chances in that game the other night. We had the ball down 1 point in the second quarter, driving the score, and we turned the football over on a very subjective call. Was he down? Was he not down? Kind of thing. So we probably score on that drive. They were having problems against us right there, and it could have been a big shot of life in our arm right there, but it wasn't. And then, just got really tired. I've told y'all that Preston Mitchell kid, the running back they've got, he's a really good player. And, he put up over 200 yards rushing on us, and he's going to keep on doing that to a lot of people. Has done it to other people this year. So we didn't play bad on defense. I was telling our guys that today. You give up 34 points to that team. I mean, it's like, I don't know, but we played far better in a lot of ways fundamentally than we did against Perry County, and that was good to see. Offensively, we were just not very efficient. Just wasn't efficient. We had a lot of opportunities to keep drives together, and we were not very good on fourth down, and had some turnovers and some penalties. And playing against a team that is pretty good, you can't do those things.
Right, and I mean, you talked about that Preston Mitchell as well. And there we got old Adam Welch in here ready to rock and roll. How are you tonight, Adam?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. You was talking about that Preston Mitchell. Over 200 yards. He had 220 yards and 15 attempts, and I mean, you look straight across that same line at us at Jaden Melton. 27 attempts at only 110 yards. So I mean, I guess that kind of credits their defense a little bit more. And they had some. Adam even brought it up during the broadcast. It was like they were finding every gap that we could put at them, and it was their defense was just there.
We're just limited in the passing game a little bit with Zach not being in there, and we did a few things fine, but they just they made a decision after a couple of series there if we had 6 in there to block, they were going to have 7. If we were going to have 7 in the block, they were going to have 8. They always had a man advantage in some stuff, and they play real physical. They play real fast. They play real hard. I know that gets talked about a lot, and people are like, well, that's expected. People, not ever. I mean, it's not. I mean, there's a lot of teams that you turn on the film. Some teams are known for playing hard, and they're one of them. They play real hard and they're physical, and you can tell they've made a lot of improvements from last year. And it's just we had some issues on the offensive line. I don't think we played. It's probably our worst game of the year by far on the O line, just because I think we were pretty tired. Using a lot of the bigger guys more on defense now, trying to help our defense out, and it just kind of adds to it. Our legs being a little tired. We played way higher than we usually do in our stance and our blocks, and we wasn't moving as efficiently as we usually do, and they took it to us early. We settled in a little bit, but they took it to us early and outplayed us like effort-wise there for a little bit, and then we kind of got it going a little bit, but it was just a whole lot of things where they broke some tendencies that we were counting on them to kind of follow suit what they've shown all year long, and they kind of changed some of the things we did or what they did, and we had to count on the fly, and then had to find a way to throw the football when we needed to when they had us in bad situations, and we did some things okay. We threw the ball to Jace all right. Got the ball to Kumarion a couple times, but if we played them maybe in a week or two when it's cooler and after this break, I would like to think it would be a little bit different. I don't know if we would beat them. I think we would have a really, really good chance to if we played really well. But It was just one of those things caught us at the right time, and they got healthy as we were not healthy. They had just gotten a few guys back, and that's a good football team. They're probably going to finish 8-2, and got a chance to make a little run probably.
And we talked about just a few minutes ago about the break, and we can talk a little bit more about the break and the McEwen stuff coming up here in just a little bit, because we're probably not going to have a Talons Out episode next Monday because there's really not a whole lot to talk about. So we'll skip that one. But what is your weight room? What does your practice look like when you do have a bye week like this? And I mean, do you just continue on as normal, just like if you were going to have a football game on Friday night?
Well,
How do you kind of go into that?
that's a really good question because there's a lot of different train of thoughts on that. I've worked for some guys in the past that have their method, and then I've had and everybody's a little bit different. I would say the way we're going to handle it this week is 100% a reflection of where we're at with our depth and our team and our numbers. We got to get our legs back. And that's not to say we're not going to go out and practice. We're going to be full gear on the practice field tomorrow. So it's not like we're not going to practice, but we're going to be mindful of what we're doing. We just the number one thing is we got to stay. We got to get healthy. And even if you're playing football, there's still bumps and bruises guys are out there playing with all the time. People don't realize it. It's like, well, if you're playing, you're not hurt. That's everyone's banged up at different times during the season, even if they're playing. So got to get healthy, and we've got to fix some things about us. We've got to develop some depth on the defensive line. We've got to develop some more depth in the secondary. We've got to find maybe that means we got to play a different kind of coverage or a style here and there. Offensively, we got to get better at throwing and catching. We've got to have some answers for when people load the box to stop a running game and dare us to throw the football. And we've got to have some answers to that. And of course, we got to get better at special teams. And we've gotten better at special teams. We just got to continue to get better at it. And I think that's what this week's about. And then not worrying about McEwen as much, but at the end of the week, we'll start working on them a little bit. But I think I've been places in the past as a defense coordinator where we had a lot of depth, and I told our guys today, we went out there and it was war for 3 or 4 straight days. Like we murdered each other. Like it was like fall camp over again, and that didn't help us any as a team as the year went. I've also been a part of the staff where we didn't do a whole lot of anything besides, a lot of rehab and a lot of meeting times and walkthroughs and stuff over the break, and thinking that was going to help us, and it didn't help us either. So, there's not one correct way to do it. I don't think. I think it's just all about,
Just a happy medium.
well, it's where your team is at. Like next year at this time, it could be completely different, and that's kind of you just got to kind of know your group, and you got to go with what you think you need to do for that time and place, and um, we're in a good spot right now. It came at a good time, and our kids know that. They understand that. We had a really good day today and got some things done. But this week is critical for us. I mean, to I don't want to say push the reset button because there's no such thing as that, but um, just kind of fine tune some things with us and go back and refocus on some things and emphasize some key points here and there that sometimes when you're getting ready for another team, I don't want to say you don't work on those things, you don't work on those fundamentals, but you start worrying about those teams that you're about to play more. So tomorrow and Wednesday and a lot of Thursday too. It's going to be about us. It's not going to be about Brewston or McEwen or McKenzie or Kip or Camden, the other teams that we play along the way. It's going to be about us and improving in some areas that we really need to get better at.
Right. Um, Adam, let's talk a little bit about some of those stats that you got there in front of you. Just kind of thinking back and kind of remembering, which there's a lot that's happened since then. My actually Saturday, I want to say a little praise, I guess, for my son, one of the only eighth graders to be invited up to play in the high school band in Dyersburg, and he had his very first band competition on Saturday, so in South Gibson. So a lot's happened since then, but I say that to say I feel like there was at least one or two, maybe three, kind of pivotal moments, I guess, in that ball game Friday night that, man, that score could have been a lot closer and a lot different in some areas.
I
But
definitely
let's
think so. I can think of a few on the top of my mind right now that we kind of stressed a little bit today. Things that don't show up in the stat sheet, a mistake here, a mistake there that wasn't anything that they did. It was us, and we messed it up. Um, you know, just and it was as simple as a fourth down conversion here or there, or a not turning the football over, or not dropping the ball right here on the on a play on. I've taken on the block wrong. We did that a few times and sprung 27 on some plays. We took on the block wrong, and we didn't have no help because of it. And everything's set up on defense, knowing where your help's at. And when you don't take a block on correctly, and people think that's not a big deal, it's a huge deal. Knowing how to leverage the football on defense, and that's been one of our main bugaboos this year. We've got guys that are playing positions they never have, and we have had just a really stressful time of setting the edge, so to speak, and leveraging the football. And we're going to work on that a lot this week too.
Let's go over some stats here in this game. First downs, both teams had 13. We look at the passing yards, 26. That's going to be 89 passing yards for Houston County, 144 for West Carroll. Ben Pruitt, 8 out of 15 in the game with one interception. For Houston County, Robert Kaiser, 3 of 8 for 89 yards. Receiving yards for Houston County, Malachi Carey, 2 catches for 66 yards. Tristan Hopper, 1 carry for 23 yards. For West Carroll, receiving was Qmarion Patterson, 3 catches for 117 yards. Jace Hammett, 2 catches for 16 yards. Mason Taylor, 2 catches for 4 yards. And Jaden Milton, 1 catch for 7 yards. Rushing stats for Houston County, Preston Mitchell, 15 carries for 220 yards. Malachi Carey, 5 carries for 59 yards. Tristan Hopper, 4 carries for 12 yards. For West Carroll, running the football, Jaden Milton, 27 carries for 110 yards. Ben Pruitt, 12 carries for 10 yards. Zach Hames, 3 carries for 6 yards. And Qmarion Patterson with 1 carry for 5 yards. Coach, I look at some of these stats. I look at this ball game. There's a bunch of things that stick out, but talk a little bit about Zach Hames, Mason Taylor. Talk about their roles going forward and how important they are, especially on the offensive side of the football. Now that teams, we all know about Jaden Milton, and teams are going to start really keying on him. So just talk about their roles a little bit going forward.
Well, I mean, their roles should increase. I like so. I mean, and that's the thing. Zach's got ability. Mason's got ability to run the football and do some things. And we've got some different things we've been waiting to do. It's just getting the right looks from people and feeling comfortable in doing those things. And Mason does play a huge role for us on offense right now as our B-back, doing a lot of different things. And in the passing game, which we haven't gotten the ball in the passing game just a lot, just because of how people have played us, but also he's played some tight end. He's played sniffer back. He's played wing position for us. He's split out. Mason, for a freshman, has played a lot of spots on our team. And also at running back. And his time is going to come, and he's got a lot of talent back there. And we are going to have to be able to do things like that. And, we were going to look at doing some things with Jaden. Jaden might have to split out and go play some receiver for us. And that's not that can be taken, we can take advantage of some people's, structure and scheme and personnel doing things like that, because Jaden can athletically do all those things. And then Zach, when he runs the football, he runs it really physical and hard, and that's been wonderful to us. We've got some guys that can run the football. Plus, Ben and Zach Fowler, they can run the football, and we running the football and people to run it's not going to be our issue right now. We've just got to find ways to generate more chances to win one-on-one battles outside, because people are going to play us man. They're going to try to overload our boxes. But when you do that, we saw it against Perry County too, and even Harding Academy. When you do that, you don't play with a safety. You got everybody up there, horizontally across the line playing man coverage on people. You misfit a gap, or we beat you on the O line, like we crease it, and then we're gone. So that's kind of the double-edged sword when you play that kind of coverage against us. And we're going to see it again. It's coming soon. So it's one of those things that we've got to develop a more efficient way of throwing the football, and we're going to work on that. And we've got some things. We've just got to get a little bit more trust and settle in those things. But yeah, those guys can go in there and play running back for us and do different things. They can totally do that. And then they never come off the field on defense too. So it's one of those things where we don't want to use them all the time. Mason's played a lot more snaps than he probably should as a freshman, but that's where we're at, and he's a good player. And he's totally, by the end of this season, toward the end, he's not going to be a freshman anymore. He's going to have a lot of snaps under your belt like a sophomore, junior. So that's the good thing about playing, young guys. By the time they're sophomores, they're not really truly sophomores. They're almost juniors. But
yeah.
No, definitely going to see those guys more on offense. That's the plan going forward.
More questions about offense here. A little bit on the passing game. Kimarion Patterson, he had 3 catches for 117 yards, and Jace Hammett 2 for 16. Talk a little bit about both of them going forward, but Jace in particular, his impact that he's made this year, also on the defensive side of the football. He's had some interceptions. I feel like he's really coming on strong.
Yeah, Jace, plays almost every snap in the football game. That's a lot for a sophomore. I put a lot on him, and on defense, he calls a lot of the calls and signals that we give into him. And then on offense, he plays. I probably said it before. Our tight end position we call the Y. He lines up a lot of different places, and you have to be physical in the run game and blocking. You got to know you got to pass block when you're asked to. You got to be able to run routes. You got to play. You got to block for different run schemes from different spots. It's not a spot to where you can just go play and just not care. You're going to have to care a lot in those spots. So Jace has a lot on his plate as a sophomore football player, a lot on his plate. And he's done a great job in the run game this year. He's really, really helped us in the run game with working with our O-linemen out on the perimeter. Kimarion catches that fast screen the other night. Jace goes out there and gets on a defensive back and bullies him up. And, Q springs it and goes. And, that's a huge play. But that play just doesn't go because, they didn't have it. I mean, there was guys in the area. Q made a great catch and a run. But Jace had a great block. And that's the thing about Jace. He loves to get physical. He's very physical in the run game. And then he catches the ball very well, too. And they were giving us some looks that, we could definitely throw him the football. And if people give us those looks, we have no problem in throwing him the football. Defensively, he's been playing inside linebacker for us and playing Mike. He had to play Sam the other night in an attempt to try to get better on the edge. And he did a great job for someone who's first time he played. Well, he played a little bit of it last year, but it wasn't the entire game in that situation. And he did a great job. And, his versatility has also been a huge plus because we needed him to go on the D-line. He could go down the D-line, I'm sure, and, play special teams and all those things. But he's got a huge impact around the team. And just to be a sophomore, look out there, and he's got as much experience as a lot of people in the field as a sophomore, which, yeah, it's whatever right now. But, that's only going to be good for us going down, in the future too. So got to look at it that way too.
Talk a little bit, Coach, about this region. There's some teams that's very underrated, I feel like. You've got one coming up, in my opinion, in McEwen, Brewston. You've already played Houston County. Of course, everybody knows about McKenzie. Talk about this region and how it's, and even Perry County, they're definitely not a when you played them, they didn't play like a winless team, that's for sure. So talk a little bit about this region.
Yeah, I think this region has been overlooked across the state. And last year, it was because, we were very old. McKenzie was really good and everyone else was very young. Well, now it's the opposite. McKenzie's, still McKenzie. They got almost 60 players for a 1A team.
Yeah.
They're rolling along just fine. But, everyone else is now older besides us. Perry County rolled a 3A Stewart County team the other night. Perry County's going to win some more games as the season goes.
Yeah.
I think we can beat, a lot of people too. And that's the thing I try to tell our guys. We haven't played nowhere near our best on defense yet. And we haven't played the best on offense yet either. as a young team, that was kind of one of the goals at the very first of the season. Talked about it all summer and the preseason, like get better as the year goes. And sometimes, a win or a loss doesn't mean you're still not getting better. Like just because we lost to Houston County doesn't mean we haven't improved. We're a better football team now than we were when we played Gibson County in a lot of ways. It's like, well, you lost again. Well, Houston County's pretty good. Let them play Gibson County and see what happens. So, and then Houston County, like we just talked about, like they're a pretty good football team.
Yeah.
They jamboreed with South Fulton and beat them earlier in the season. South Fulton has got a chance to be the 2 seed in that region over there. So the one that we're historically in, Brewston's much improved this year under a new coaching staff. We just talked about Perry County, and then McEwen. They came and played us last year, and we played one of the best games we've had since I've been here as head coach or assistant coach.
Yeah.
They were very young, and now all those kids are back, and they're going to have 40-something players on the field, and they are a big physical football team.
Yeah.
When we get off the bus, they're going to try to start hitting us. Kind of mindset. They are. It's an old school throwback way of playing football for them right now under their coaching staff, that was kind of a strange thing what happened over the summer with them, but that is going to be a very physical football game with us and them. I'm sure they got a bad taste in their mouth for how we played what we did to them last year, because that was at the end of the day that was the winner of that game gets a home playoff game, and we had a great week of preparation for them. Talked to our kids about it today. If we do that again, I like our chances, but it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a rock fight. It's going to be tough down the middle of the field. They're going to try to line up and just knock you backwards, which that is not our issue. It's just making sure it stays inside of us in the run game. But they've got, they played a good Wayne County team the other night and got beat by 2 scores, and Wayne County had just come off of beating Moore County, who, really good football team last few years. So I think this region is much improved as a whole, top to bottom. I think when you compare it to, the region that we match up with in the playoffs, it's deeper and better than that region. The region 7 with, the Union Cities, Lake Counties, Halls, South Fultons, and World. Well, that region is not as good as it has been. It's got some good teams in it, but I don't know if it has that great team. If I had to say right now, I think McKenzie would beat Union City.
Yeah.
I've seen both play on film. So our region is a whole lot better. And then when you compare it to the eastern side of the state, the eastern side of the state in 1A is just not as good as Western Tennessee and Middle Tennessee in football in 1A. So it's got to be one of the 2 or 3 best regions in 1A right now.
As you go into the bye week, talk about routine, being able to establish yourself and what you're going to do the next few weeks as far as the kids not getting out of routine and getting in a good mindset going forward.
Yeah, that's huge. This is going to sound funny to say, but as a coaching staff, we're very thankful when it's a 5-day work week. Like when we don't miss school, it's better for us. Yeah. Don't throw us out of routine. Last week it was homecoming and we missed a day of school. The week before that, it was a different deal too. And the week before that, we missed 2 days of school. So it's and then we had all the rain for that game. Like it was just the last couple of weeks have just been strange for us. The fact that we don't have to worry about a holiday or teacher in service or anything like that is a lot better for us as a football team this week and next week. So, and going forward down the line here until we get to fall break. Now, fall break's a different monster all itself, but we'll worry about that when we get there. But yes, like routine is huge for us. Our kids knowing what they're going to get a couple of days in advance is big, and knowing that for us, and we don't have to change our schedules and miss time. That's the thing people don't realize. Like, we missed practice time last week because of being out of school and other things. We missed practice time a couple weeks ago because we had in services and stuff like that. So those things, people don't see it, but it does take a toll. So back to a regular schedule is really, really good news for us.
When you talk a little bit about the getting off the routine, when is fall break? When does that come around?
it's the Camden week, just like last year. So I got it right here. So that's in 3 or 4 weeks, I think.
3 weeks, yeah.
So that's something that knowing your team and where they're at. Do you practice in the morning? Do you practice midday? Do you practice in late afternoon? And those things like you just gotta kind of fill out how many kids of yours can drive, how many kids are going to have issues getting to practice, and I don't get it, but people are going to miss practices on fall break. I don't get it sometimes. I hate to be this way, but if you're going to play football, going on trips on fall break is kind of taboo, and people still do it. I don't get it, but whatever. We'll leave it there. It's always you're going to have a lot of surprises. Let's just say that come fall
break. Jonathan, I've got one last question.
Okay.
I'm going to for him, and then it'll be on to McEwen. I'm going to name off 2 or 3 players, and I want you just to, as brief as you can, talk about these players and how key something that they're going to need to be good at going forward. Okay.
All right.
Amari Kelly.
Versatility.
Tyus Reed.
Leadership.
I think we have lost Adam. He's got a black screen right there, so I wonder what his next one was. He's going to leave us all in some suspense now. So
yeah, he did.
We'll have to get him. I'm gonna kick him out of the studio, and we'll have to see if we can get him back in there. But
it's all good.
So I guess let's kind of get that look ahead now to McEwen. I know it's 2 weeks out. I know we've already talked, a couple times about the routine and how things are going to go and what you need to do. But I guess let's talk a little bit about McEwen and when do you feel like it's time to start, planning for them? Do you wait till you get there on Monday of next week and kind of start and get that normal type schedule, if you want to call it that, and then also get your 3 keys to that?
If we get to Monday of a game week and I have my own way of getting ready for games, and other coaches do too. I mean, I've got to have at least watch 15 hours of film before we get to Monday. All their plays and formations and data have to be tagged in our computer system that we use called Huddle, and it breaks down their tendencies and all that kind of stuff. And, oh no, we couldn't. I mean, that would be. We've already started working on them. Not saying that we've worked ahead, but when you got a little downtime, you can, without putting too much into it mentally, you can put some data into the computer and start tagging some of that and getting an idea of what they do and what they're good at, and they're looking at their personnel, and you can start kicking around some thoughts of how you would, what calls you might make on offense based on what their structure on defense is, and how you might want to play certain formations on defense. And having played them last year, kind of got a leg up on knowing their personnel a little bit, their strengths and weaknesses. So we'll work on them. But as far as starting to practice what they do with our guys, it'll be Thursday, Friday this week, more than likely. But by the time Sunday gets here this coming weekend, we're full, Saturday, Sunday, we'll be full. The game plan will be finished, and then to just be working on it throughout, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Right, that makes sense. So, well, Adam, you're back. So we went on and talked a little bit about McEwen, and then we'll get his, I guess top 3 keys here in just a minute. But you left us in suspense. Who was the third one? Oh, I gotta unmute you. There you go. Try it again.
Mason Taylor.
Finding the home on defense.
Oh, that's good. You got any more down there?
No, that's it for this
week. That was your 3. Yeah. I was like, man, he just left us in some suspense right there. So, well, I guess let's go ahead, Coach Dolan, and talk about your top 3 keys. To, I mean, we've got another almost hour and a half travel again ahead of us for that McEwen game. So let's talk a little bit about that. Your top 3 keys going into that game?
Oh, well, I mean, I with them, it's going to match the number one's going to be match their physicality. They they're a lot like McEwen in the fact that they play hard. Um, they play different. I don't know how to describe this right, but they play hard like Houston County does, but it's in a different way. It's
Right.
more right at you. It's more downhill at you. They don't have as much of, and it's not taking a shot at them. It's just they don't have as much maybe speed in the skill players as Houston County does, but they are bigger than them in a lot of areas and longer. Matching physicality early on in the game is going to be big. We did it last year. We talked about it last year, and we did. And then, on offense, not getting behind the sticks and not getting ourselves in a hole. Like, we have to find a way to be in third and manageables, second and medium, to where we have a lot of different options. We can't be in 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 9 because people are going to overload our protection and they're going to play man-to-man on us. And right now, we're just not winning. We're just not capable of winning a lot of one-on-one routes and battles against guys that are older than us and maybe more athletic than us and experienced than us right now. So staying on schedule in the run game, and then being, when we have a chance to hit them in the pass game and some things, then, being able to take advantage of it. And then just the turnovers. Got to find a way not to. We got to win the turnover battle. We're not getting enough turnovers ourselves, and not that we're just turning the ball over at will, but we've got to find a way to win the turnover battle somehow. And if we do that, then we'll definitely have a chance to win the game in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and like we've talked about it a couple times, you've got these 2 weeks to prepare for it, and get everybody on the healthy, the up and up, and get everything pointed in the right direction. So we look forward to that. We look forward to that trip. That'll be the first time that I think we have played at McEwen. So I've seen pictures, so I think we've got our location kind of figured out. I know we're going to be outdoors again, so let's hope it's not raining and windy again like it was at Perry County. So we're going to be able to set up down there at the end of the grandstands and run us some wires up there for Adam and our camera person, and we'll make the best of it. But pray for no wind and no rain for that one. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean and that's the thing. They're calling for a lot of rain at the end of this week, and the games Friday night are going to probably be wet. I just would like some fall weather. I know our boys would like some fall weather. It'd be nice to start a football
Cool it down a little bit.
in the 60s or the 70s. That would be really, really nice for us. We could catch that break. But no, the McEwen game, it's a big game, region game, but it's, we're matched evenly in a lot of areas. Our strength is probably, on the run game and on the offensive line, and theirs is too. And on the defensive, side of the field, they're pretty good in the box. Talking about the interior D line and the linebackers, they do a good job, and I think that's kind of where our strength is inside. So it's kind of going to be strength on strength kind of deal.
That definitely makes sense. So, well, all right. As we've already talked about, we won't have any kind of a Talons Out for next Monday. So we got the bye week on Friday. So we'll have a Talons Out bye week on Monday, I guess. So good luck with your team and working with them and working through everything, and hopefully get everybody healthy and pointed in the right direction, and we'll see what we can do at McEwen. All right. So in 2 weeks, I believe that's October the 4th. Is that right? Yeah, Friday night, October 4th. We'll have the Hometown Grocery Deli pregame show from McEwen at 6:30 and the kickoff at 7. And so we'll go in there and see if we can get us another region win and fight hard and make it happen.
Yes, sir. We'll try to. Sure.
All right. Well, Adam Welch, we appreciate you hopping on there and getting some good insight. Coach Dolan, we appreciate it as every week. And if that's it, we'll sign it off, and we'll hopefully everybody can make that trip to McEwen in a couple weeks. And I know there's probably still plenty of junior high games and volleyballs and everything else.
yeah, we got one more middle school game that's going to be at home against Greenfield this week, and then we'll see if they can do another game after that. But one more for sure.
All right. Well, everybody needs to get out there and be sure that you kind of support all of that, and then make the trip to McEwen on October 4th. And I mean, I think that Tuesday, October 1st, junior high basketball starts. So junior high basketball is going to be ramping up pretty quickly. So you got a lot of things to be supportive of at the Eagles Nest and for West Carroll. So get out there, support them, and be sure you let the kids know that they are appreciated, I guess. So let them know that you're behind them. So, all right, well, that'll do it. So we'll talk to you on October 4th from McEwen. So on behalf of Adam Welch, Adam Dolan, I'm Jonathan Gowan, and we will talk to you in a couple weeks on the War Eagle Radio Network.